minus 5, 3, 2, 1, 0, and liftoff.
Good evening, all.
Good evening.
Evening, all.
Oh, yeah,
I'm not sure how that ever even. That's what is going on.
What?
Wait, just step. Hang on.
Still hiccups.
I see what happened there. I had YouTube on in the background. I thought I could hear the theme tune twice there. Well,
that's normally my thing.
no, I'm sitting there thinking, why can I hear lots of music going on here? What is going on? I suddenly thought, I know what it is. Right, anyway, we're here. We're live.
We've arrived.
Let's play Guess the Guest. I'll give you a clue.
Yeah.
Look at my background.
And it's not. He doesn't make bathtub gin, but what he does do, he flies the drone.
I thought you were celebrating having a bath, Jackie.
No. I want a flying one. He's
You
gonna
know
make
what?
it.
I missed it. I should have that video on there, shouldn't I? Really? You know, the video.
We've shown it before, haven't we? So.
The Barbie doll one.
Yeah, Caroline's one.
Okay, right. We're gonna bring our guest on. I'm sure you've guessed by now, anyway.
Let's quit messing around. Yeah.
Let's go.
Get in there, boy.
Let's welcome this week's Drone Seekers live show special guest.
the original bar flying.
The bar.
One of these days, we're going to have a live show in a bath.
Yeah.
It's going to be all of us in a bath.
For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, when we first talked to Steve, we was convinced, but it was a name very similar, wasn't it? I can't remember what it was now. The name was very similar, wasn't it?
Something like that.
I can't remember how it was. I can't remember. I think it started. I think when Jackie just said, "Aren't you the guy with the bath?"
That's the one.
I
can't remember what the actual original group was.
He did say not guilty, obviously, but I reckon he's got the capabilities to build one. So.
Never say never, Jack.
I'm still hopeful.
So that is the challenge. You see, you can deliver bars.
Look, as long as that gets CAA approval, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, not CAA approval. That'd be interesting anyway. Let's have a look, see what we've got in the chat anyway. And Chuck is back from Iceland. Did you get away shopping, Chuck?
Back
later. Oh, Chuck, yeah, Chuck. Look from looking at the pictures and whatever that Chuck's been posting on there.
Looks like he had a
It
good
looks
time.
like an amazing time. It's Chuck and Laurie. I cannot wait to see the video. It's really cool. Right, Flying Dream Media. How you doing? There he is, Stevie Knowles.
Mickey Moo.
Captain Joe's there. And Dave Cullen. How you doing, Dave? And
Gracias.
Johnny Don't-Fly. I called literally called Tim John. I was so busy today, Johnny, I couldn't say watching your show for a long time.
Oh, I know. Do you know what? When you look at YouTube, yeah, and you get that notification page, and I do the same with Marcus's channel. It goes, oh, this one's live, and then I see underneath in little writing 4 hours ago. It's like, oh.
Johnny's show was live. He had got a full house.
There's always.
How you doing, Mickey Moo? How you doing, Captain Cook?
Hey, Bob. Bob's in the house.
Boldly to go where no man has gone before.
And Johnny Mac 26. Hello, troops. Jay Richard. How you doing, Jake? How you doing?
Johnny.
Hello,
Marcus has
Jay.
the channel.
And ready for it, Marcus?
Yeah. Sweet
Caroline.
Caroline. Good times never seem so good. I've
Laurie.
been inclined to believe they never would.
I didn't know Marcus could sing that well. I didn't know he could actually sing.
At a football match.
Yeah.
I heard that on the telly today.
So good, so good, so good. Bob, how you doing? The original old fart Bob is good old Bob. He certainly is.
We love Bob.
The Las Vegas Drone Flyers. Say hello. Hello, Las Vegas Drone Flyers. How you doing?
Well, no, listen, we need to talk about Las Vegas. Let's stop right there for just a second, Steve.
Right,
This is no kidding. They are having serious flooding right now.
They are.
Yeah.
They are.
They're not used to it out there.
Is this after the storm then? This is all part of the storm, that same storm.
I know that things are bad over at Burning Man over in Nevada, and there was a drone light show. There was the same team that I work with are there, and they were supposed to have shows on Thursday and Friday night, but apparently it's so muddy and it's so bad that they can't do a show because the generators have all run out. They can't get the trucks in to empty the toilets, and they can't get any fuel in for the generators. So there's no power.
They actually declared
Burning Man.
Yeah. They declared a state of emergency because you got 75,000 people trapped out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
Wow.
Alan, how you doing? Mark, how you doing?
Hello, Mark.
George Kelly, how you doing?
George
from Wisconsin. Wisconsin.
Bob says it's not bad today.
Yeah,
well, that's good. I was supposed to go to Las Vegas actually today, or was it yesterday? I think I said this to you, Steve, a few months ago when you were asking me to be on tonight, because I was supposed to go to the Commercial UAV Expo, which is on there. It starts tomorrow or Tuesday. It starts, but they wouldn't pay my flight, even though they wanted me to be a speaker. They wanted me to be a speaker and also panel host to host a few panels that were on. And they were like, "Yeah, please come over." I was like, "Okay, so you're paying for?" They were like, "Oh, your hotel room," and I was like, "Okay." And that's it. And I was like, "No." So,
a long way to go, isn't it? That's not a good flight.
Well, they expect you to actually fly all the way over there, will they? Or...
Yeah.
Perhaps they thought you had one of these.
Yeah.
I don't have FAA approval yet, Jackie. So
well, let me say this about that, Stephen. If you ever do end up in Las Vegas, let me know, because it's driving distance from where I'm at.
Excellent.
Believe it or not, Marcus, I actually measured the distance between your area and Las Vegas, and it was about 6-7 hours. 650
miles. No, I can do it because it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and you can kind of exceed the speed limit. You can easily do it in about 9 hours, but that's occasional triple digits on the straightaways. Interestingly enough, you're a Tesla guy.
The Corvette helps.
Yeah.
When I looked at Teslas, Stephen, I did that trip because I've got relatives in Las Vegas, so I'd make that trip. And there's a way you can go right through the center of the state. They're 2-lane roads, but they're nice roads. However, you can't go there in a Tesla because there's no charging stations.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, that's the side.
Somebody can host you up.
Excellent.
Thank you, Bob. I would be delighted to be hosted by you. I would.
Jay Richards, for your question, yes, I am in the UK. Me and Kevin in the UK.
But I did check, actually, Marcus. I did check. I looked at Idaho and I looked at Las Vegas, and I'm going, I was looking at it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'll take it you've been busy making lots of video, Stephen. I watched your latest one about sort of basically what's the best way to put it? Drone pilots with not much brain.
I've been a bit unhappy recently. I've been a bit unhappy with the community, or obviously a very, very small amount, So, and we're having a lot of wildfires happen. Oh, this is happening in the States. It's also happening in Europe because of the extreme weather that we're all having, and it's causing a bit of a problem. And we're getting negative press, and we're seeing negative press because of other aspects, because some planes have been hit by something, and of course there's no evidence that it's a drone, but they jump into it. So I think that a lot of the negative press recently hasn't been good for us. But when I think that when we drive, so any of you who drive, when you see an accident, you don't stop and take pictures, and so why do we want to fly a drone over and take pictures of that? Because not, for obviously for other reasons, but one of the main reasons, of course, is that there are manned aircraft that are coming in, especially for the wildfires and stuff. We shouldn't be interfering, and it's giving us a bad name, because all of the forces cannot launch and put these fires out if there's a drone there, So, and it really annoyed me, and I made a few videos about these. So I had a rant, but my rant's over.
We couldn't tell, Stephen. We couldn't tell.
But the thing is, I mean, this is it. I mean, and I think what it is, people. The truth of it, Stephen, is that people do not think.
Yeah.
They think, oh, there's a fire. Let's get drone footage of that. That'll make great one, because people love to watch sort of, it's like going to a motor race and you see a car crash, and everyone goes, oh yeah, and all they talk about, did you see the crash? Not did you see one of the races?
One thing which I didn't mention in one of the videos is that my first experience of a fire, there was a forest fire nearby our holiday home that we have, and my sister-in-law said to me, she said, oh, there's a fire nearby, why don't you put up your drone and have a look at it? Now, this was about 5 years ago or something, so even if I wasn't as wise as I was, but I actually said to her, I don't think that's a good idea. And she said, why? I said, I don't know. I said, I just don't think it's a good idea. And I mean, for that, I didn't think about manned aircraft coming in or whatever, but I just thought it wasn't a good idea. But I always remember thinking that, no, I really shouldn't do that. But we don't do it on the ground. We don't drive towards accidents or fires and go, oh, look at that, and take pictures and stuff. So why should we do it with drones?
Apparently, it's actually against people. I mean, I've seen it before where there's been an accident, and obviously the police are getting people through, and the traffic moves ever so slowly. You suddenly realise, because everyone goes past going,
it's rubbernecking.
It's actually against the law.
It is.
Can cause more accidents.
Exactly, Kevin. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the thing is, it's bad enough that there could be a fatality there. Someone could have lost their lives, or hopefully not. But whether it's an accident, it's someone's. It certainly hasn't made someone's day, has it? People going, oh look!
I wouldn't like to open Instagram up and look at a picture of an accident where maybe one of my family members had lost their life, that someone had taken a picture of it and said, oh, I caught this cool photo, hit for likes and stuff. And it's like, it's kind of thing I wouldn't like that. So why should we do? Yeah, it's morally wrong. It's morally wrong. But I mean, I do understand that people just don't know, and they think that because they have a drone, it's okay. We can just do this, and there's not many of us and stuff. But we need to think before we fly a little bit. And I don't want to come across as a moaner, because I hate the moaners, but it really annoyed me. I just made those couple of videos.
We had a conversation with Greg of Pilot Institute the other day. Part of this falls on the shoulders of the drone manufacturers, in that they don't. All it takes is just a little QR code or something. If you're buying a drone in the United States, to take you to the FAA drone zone, because you're right. So many people, they just go to Walmart and they buy a DJI drone. They have no idea about any rules or regulations or anything, and they end up doing crazy stuff. The manufacturers need to step it up a little bit, and help. Just put a sheet of paper in there that says, "Hey, go to the FAA drone zone before you take off in this thing." Yeah.
Well, we do have an example of, and of course, this is getting into territory that some people might not like so remote ID and U-Space, which we're having, or we may well be having in Europe as well. And U-Space is basically, it's actually more kind of controlled airspace for drones, and I've tested this. I've actually been a part of these studies where we have put drones up in areas, and we have a corridor. So you have a corridor where you fly, right? And this is where the drones will fly. And if there is, let's say, an accident, or there's something that the police or the emergency service need to control, they can control that. And if you have a drone in that area, they essentially have a hot button which they can press, and your drones will just come back home.
Okay.
I'm very proud to say that I was the first person to ever fly a drone and have it happen to me. And we this will upset some people when I say this word, but AirMap, were one of the companies involved in that when they were up and running back then, and that's when they were doing software. And we managed to integrate to their software in order to make that happen. And the Finnish police hit the button. I had two M210s, and they both got that signal, and then they came back because the police were in that area, and they said that this area here is your emergency, and I put my drones in there, and they were there, and my drones came back, and they just landed automatically.
That's great.
That's quite good, isn't it? That sounds.
Yeah.
Yes, but then you get into the kind of the remote ID as to you know where your drone is. And this is what people, in a sense, don't want. And I do understand both sides here, where people don't want to know where they are and all the rest of it. But basically, they knew who I was, and they knew where my drones, and they knew where I was. And when the drones came back, so the system does work, but it's still a long way to go, and we still have to have acceptance for that. But that's it. That's the kind of thing that we were doing, and those things have been tried out. And if people don't behave themselves, I fear that this will happen.
Yeah.
So can I get on my soapbox for just a second?
Certainly.
So remote ID in the United States, there's none of us that are really happy to see more regulation, etc. Particularly the part that you're talking about, Stephen, where they can see where the control station is, right? But however, it could be way worse. It could be way worse, and it really is easy to comply with. It's super easy to comply with. Your drone comes with it already. You just have to register it. 99% of us, we'll never know the difference from how it was before to then. But the problem is there are individuals out there that are preaching non-compliance. And you know what? If we don't make remote ID work in the United States, the FAA is mandated by Congress to track drones. What comes behind it will probably be way more oppressive. So we need to make remote ID work and comply and do what we need to do. It's easy. It's super easy, and just do it.
I think I've heard, and this is more from the US side, Marcus, and this is probably something that you yourself and obviously those in the US who are watching this. And I may be speaking out of line here a little bit. Why when some people are talking about that their privacy will be infringed, and the fear for the safety, and the fear that someone's going to come up and harm them or something, whatever it is. And yes, of course, that is an issue, and I do understand that. But remote ID is not the problem there. It's society that's a problem.
There you go.
It's a societal problem, not a software problem. So being on your, as you say, on the soapbox a little bit, but shouting at the FAA and shouting at remote ID, you're shouting at the wrong people, because it's
And the Congress is who mandated it, so the FAA is just carrying it out. The other thing about that tracking, you know what? This is an iPhone. An iPhone cannot track Wi-Fi. So all those tracking apps, people that have an iPhone, they're not going to know where you're at.
Yeah.
Now, an Android phone will, but I just don't think it's going to be nearly as big of a deal as what people think.
Yeah. Yeah, true. We're
getting
serious, aren't we? We're getting serious tonight.
Yeah.
Time for a video, I think.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, put one in wonder if Steve really rants on those. No, we won't do that. No, we won't do it. I promise. We promise. There we are. We don't be fun.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, total launching.
Yay! There it is. There it is.
Wow. Look at that. That's what it is. Looks like an octopus.
Looks like propellers on a glass of beer.
Yeah, yeah. These are almost like FPV. You know, it's but this is quite, this is the one that you see in let's have Taiwan with the 1500 and Chanel and all the rest of it. This is the one we've been using mainly for that. So it's
how
a bit of a workhorse.
Is that?
This is about. It's about 340 grams.
Wow.
It's about 340. Nice. Yeah. So
someone asked a question on. I think it was someone asked a question. Where was it? Oh, Richard. How long will it take to program? Where are we? How long did it program the Dubai show?
The Dubai head show. The head. I think he probably meant the Taiwan
triangle. Was it?
Yeah. Tiger. That took about 3 weeks to program.
So next question, Stephen. Who does that programming? Is it your team that does it, or
no? We have we might use external 3D animators. So it just depends. We can outsource it to another company. We can keep it within the company that we get the drones from. It just depends. There are more and more companies that are starting to be able to do this quite, and I don't want to say quite easily, because it's still very, very challenging, because you have to, you're always thinking about the power of the drone. You're always thinking about making sure that you have enough battery to do the maneuvers that you're doing, and you don't want, so to get from point A to point B, or point B to point C, how much velocity are you using? How much power are you using? And is it using too much power? Because if you use too much power, then that can also be tricky. So there's a lot of, I don't say a lot of science involved, but there's really have to understand the velocity and make sure that you keep the energy in the drone rather than use too much. Because I've seen sometimes, or I hear it, because if the drones are doing one maneuver and there's maybe not too much wind, and you can hear it, you think, oh, those drones are struggling. You can hear them pushing it there. Yeah. There's something with the animation which is maybe not quite right. So
there's a lot of math involved. So Jay Richard asked the question, right? Something similar, like, do you lose many drones in light displays?
We can lose. Sometimes they go for a wander. Sometimes they decide that it's game over. It's good night. Thank you.
It's technology. It's going to happen. Is it? I mean, the thing is, nothing is infallible.
No. It can be. I mean, it can be a prop. It can be, it can be a motor failure. It can be a GNSS unit. It can be RTK loss as well. So yeah, or it could just be a collision. Because again, if you have that one drone that is doing too much, it doesn't have enough to stop, and then it bumps into the other one because they're not self-aware. These drones are not aware of each other. There's no sensors on them like that. So if you have a collision, that's when it's bad, because sometimes if you have a collision, then you have lots of collisions because it's like a domino effect. Yeah. But Jay had another question there. He said he's seen many of these displays at Disneyland Paris. Yes, we actually work with that company. That's not the same company as this, but we work with Dronesos. That's the French company. We work with. In fact, I'm actually going to France in 2 weeks' time to go and work with them again. Actually, so I'll be in France.
Dave Cullen asked. He said, "What was it? Wasn't a lot fell in the river during the show recently?" I have no idea. Have you any taken dips in rivers recently? Not yours, but
there was one.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, there was one in Australia, and yeah, where I think it was a 500 show, and I think that they lost about 350 to 400 drones. They all fell in the water.
Wow.
And
that was not good. I mean,
no.
Really
do they know why? Was it just a bad program? Return to home and the bottom of the river.
I don't want to speculate too much without knowing all the facts, but you know, we've been doing this for over 3 years now, and we really understand. It's not just about flying drones. It's not just about putting these up. It's about understanding your environment. It's about understanding, the buildings and where you take off from, and if you have lots of high-rise buildings around you, especially really high-rise ones, that can have a huge effect on your satellites. So you can have what we call it GPS shadows, and you can have you can be up 120 meters, and you can still have high-rise buildings that are blocking satellites.
Yeah.
And that can have a big effect. And I think that's what happened in Australia. And I think they lost a lot because they didn't quite understand the environment there. We had that once. I actually had that when we were in Qatar, and I came on to the site, and we hadn't, or the company hadn't done a site survey. And when I walked on and I looked around and I said, we're going to have problems here. And they're like, no, it's fine. And I was like, yeah, we're going to have problems here. And then we did have problems. It was we had exactly the problems that I thought because of the high-rise buildings. So we had to work with that to try to get around it, which we did, which was quite tough. But you just have this feel for everything when you do these shows. It's not just about flying, it's about your environment, it's about the time schedule, it's about where you're taking off from, and it's about the power you have or the power you don't have and stuff. So even language problems, if you have people who don't speak any English there, you're going to be, because they cannot react in time, and that can be problematic. So there's so much to deal with.
So when you do lose them, someone asks the question, what does a typical light display drone cost?
What, just one?
Lots. Lot. It costs. It's six figures.
That's
Wow.
for
For each one.
Yeah.
No. For each show.
The whole
It's
show.
six figure.
No, I'll write to. All right. No. What you're saying is, what about the typical display drone cost? I mean, to about individual drone.
This is hard to say how much this costs because it's developed specially for it. So it has a value, but doesn't. Few hundreds, 300, 400, 500. It depends.
Just get loads of advances and modify them.
A lot of what we do with the other company, we work very, very efficiently with them. So if you do happen to lose one breaks or something, then we can easily replace it. But it's the only issue is the battery. Because once the battery hits the water, that's it. Dead.
That's it. Yeah.
So Stephen, I know you've used Parrot drones before. How similar is the Parrot drone that you use just to the regular commercial Anafi?
It doesn't have any sensors.
Okay.
It doesn't have sensors. We can fly it remotely on its own, but we don't tend to do that. We just replace the camera, so we take the camera off and we put the light on it.
Light on there. Sure.
We can also replace the GNSS unit, so we can give it a like an F9P from lots of U-blocks and stuff like that. And they can have much better. I would say the ones that we use, even though they come straight from Parrot, the ones that we use are, I would say they are probably better in the air when it comes to satellites. I would say much better. We get much more constellations. We get a much better lock. We use RTK, even though those Anafis are not really RTK, but we have RTK on them. And for a show, we can get about 15 minutes out of it.
Is it the same airframe though?
Yeah. Same. Yeah.
Tony wants to know: do you hire the drones or do you actually own them all?
No, we hire them. So it's like the company in a sense hire us, or we hire the drones. So it works that way. So we have a partnership with two companies that we work with. So we do our own productions as well. So drone shows come to us, and then we will, we'll do the whole thing, which I'm doing at the moment. I'm in the middle of one at the moment, which I'm doing. It's our first ever production, and I'm doing everything from scratch, and it's quite challenging, but it's
a lot of hard work, isn't it? Anything like that. I mean, I know from sort of organising what I organised, how much hard work is involved in it. So I know exactly where you come from. And you've got the added sort of worry of you're putting drones up in the air, and you've got to know all around you. You said earlier on, we're going to do that. If someone's going to say to you, right, I want a display here. You might have a display and think, that's right, you're saying you want it there, but I don't think it's a really good idea. No, we want it there.
That's exactly what it's like. But you said something quite interesting, Steve, there, that I know you're doing events and you play in a band and stuff like that. And I've had the same as well. So I used to be a musician in my past life, when I was younger, but a bit more handsome and had more hair. I used to be in the music business. Trust me, I used to have more hair. And so so a good way to explain what it's like to work in a drone light show is it's aviation and entertainment like that. That's what it's like.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you're in the entertainment business, but you're also in the aviation business as well. And those two have to come together. Now, that's quite difficult when you're working with a production company because they don't know about aviation. So you bring the aviation to the entertainment. They just have they just have entertainment. So when you're trying to explain about airspace and say, they're kind of going, what?
Don't even care.
Yeah. Pete Waterman of the drone
world. I should be so lucky.
lucky.
I actually heard the story about it. That was actually words that Pete Waterman was actually using to Kylie Minogue, and that's where the title of the song come from. Interesting.
Yeah.
There we are. Right. So, 31 people watching at the moment. So, what we got on here? Oh yeah. Yeah. I think you meant bum.
Oh.
I think Basil.
He's a bit.
What do we call it? That typo thing, Terry. What do you call it? When you get it wrong.
tell us how you ended up in Helsinki.
How did I end up in Helsinki?
Yeah.
I met a woman.
In Helsinki.
Which is, you can tell Stephen hasn't got that Helsinki accent.
Yeah.
Oldest story in the world.
Oldest story in the world, yes. It is indeed. It is indeed. I didn't go for the beer or the weather, put it that way.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine the weather's a draw.
Hey, Stephen, on that subject, so Finland just looks beautiful to me when you see all these summertime shots and so forth. I mean, it just looks like breathtakingly beautiful. But however, I have lived in colder climates before, and I know there's those long winter months. How does the winter really last?
It kind of starts, well, I mean, I think it's the end of October that the clocks then go forward. So really when you get into late October, early November, that's when the snow can come, and that's when it gets darker, and so it kind of gets that way from about mid-August, mid-October to, let's say, end of March. So it gets long, gets dark. As long as we have snow, it's okay, because the snow makes everything brighter. The snow is light, and so I'm good with the snow. And we have good infrastructure here. So if we have snow, everything just works as normal. It's not like the UK where you have a few snowflakes and then the whole country grinds to a standstill. It's like we tend to enjoy it. We make the most of it in that sense. But if we have great, and of course this gets down to the weather and how things are changing, we're not having the same amount of snow. Sometimes it can be rain and grey, and that's when it gets depressing. It's like the dark and grey, and it's horrible. But but winters can be nice. It's it can be good, but you just don't know. You just have no idea how it's going to be.
Not that question. Have you ever thought about moving from there?
No. I've lived in many countries. I've been pretty much everywhere in the world. The only place I haven't been to is Australia and Japan. But I would never move from here, just because society, the way that we have everything here, there's no crime. We have education. You have infrastructure. I wouldn't want to move from here.
It sounds a perfect place for we should all go and live there.
You're all very welcome.
I'm just not sure about. I'm not sure about the blacklist. I mean, so when it's dark, Steve. I mean, obviously, is it right in saying that the light, whatever the light is what it stays? I mean, you don't see.
No, it gets dark here around 3:30. I mean, around, let's say, when you get mid-December to sort of mid-January in Helsinki. It gets dark around 3 o'clock, 3:30. Wow. If you go to Lapland, if you go further up, it will get dark, and it will stay dark there. It will literally stay dark.
So when does it get? So you're saying in December about 3 o'clock it gets dark. So when does it get light then?
It gets light around 10 o'clock.
Oh, that's a small window of daylight, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, Stephen, do you get like? It can be cold, but that doesn't necessarily always mean a lot of snow. But do you ever get those snowfalls where like they run out of places to put the snow? They literally have to haul it off in dump trucks.
It's well, again, this is all part of the infrastructure here. So what happens is that it will snow during the day, and then the municipalities will work through the night. So you'll have all these trucks, and you'll have these little. You'll have the kind of digger trucks which will put them into the trucks, and then we have a landfill site. So there's a specific landfill site for snow, right? It's a snowfill site. And I remember one year we had so much snow that there was still snow in the sand in this landfill site in the middle of June.
Wow.
Oh, blimey.
And it was hot,
Did you fly
hot
down
weather.
over it?
No, because
Well,
it was near the airport. So
Oh, fair enough.
Sam, do you still fly drones during the winter months?
yeah, I do. Yeah, and that's quite good, to test. I mean, there's a few videos which I made up from up in Lapland. I was there at the beginning of the year, and it was -30. It was minus whatever that is in US. Was that -5 or something? Or I don't know what that is in.
Yeah.
That is in the
I'll
US.
tell you here in a second.
I had to do the conversion, but the drones were flying just fine. They were flying well.
Well, I suppose with drones, I mean, okay. The one thing that the cold will do to a drone battery, as you well know, I mean, it will reduce the flying time.
Yep.
But these mini threes, the one I was saying about this the other day, we talk about the mini threes and mini twos, because they don't have built-in fans. Is when you're trying to update them, it's an absolute nightmare because obviously they get so bloody hot, don't they? It's too hot.
I done a drone show in the French Alps in April, and it was -5 or -6, but it was snowing. It was snowing, and we had these taking off and landing, and it was stunning. It was amazing to have the drones landing in the snow. It was just like the best thing I ever seen. I thought,
to answer your question, Stephen, that would be -22 Fahrenheit. -30 Celsius goes to -22 Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you. It's cold, very cold.
Paving snow plans. I lived and worked in Edinburgh. Infrastructure ready for snow. It's true. I mean, the part of the problem in the UK is we do get snow. Well, most years we get snow.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't get much of it. But when we get any serious amount, that's it. The whole thing, the whole of the UK.
Not to mention the leaves on the train tracks.
That's another thing, Kevin. It depends on the type of leaves.
Yeah,
well, of course.
And the type of the snow.
Hey, let me tell you what. Anybody that rides a motorcycle takes leaves very seriously.
Oh, I'm sure.
Kill people on motorcycles.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Wet leaves and gravel. That's you can add to that, Mark. Because I've found out to my detriment in the past.
I'm sure. Oftentimes not the best time for riding motorbikes.
Yeah. I've given up now, but I don't know if I can actually ride one now. But the thing I used to ride a bike, that was my only form of transport. But now,
come on over, Steve. I'll loan you one.
Thank you.
Both of you.
Oh, that's Steve. Sorry, that's Steve.
Both Steves.
Yeah. Oh no, Joe Richards said the yellow snow. My mum said, "Don't eat the yellow snow."
It's lemon juice.
Good old Frank Zappa.
Yeah. Oh, Terry, are you with us?
Put my hands up to it. Yeah, I've been waiting.
It's lemon juice.
Yeah, I've woken up, Mickey.
Well, better do a joke then.
Yeah.
Ready? I'm ready.
Okay.
Right. Okay. 2, 3, 4.
And now it's time for Terry's joke of the week.
I've got a toothache. This guy says I got such a bad toothache, really bad. So he goes to the dentist. It's a female. Pulls out a needle, give him a shot. And he said, no way. He said, needles, no needles. I hate needles. I hate them. As the dentist started to hook up the nitrous oxide, and the man says to her, no, I cannot stand having a mask on. It suffocates me. The dentist said, well, have you got any objection to taking a pill? And the man thought, no, I got no injection. I'm fine with pills. Dentist goes out. She comes back in with a Viagra. Gives him a Viagra. And said, here's a Viagra. And the patient says, wow, I didn't know Viagra worked as a painkiller. Doesn't, said the dentist. but it's going to give you something to hold on to when I pull your tooth out.
Terry's joke of the week.
I tell you what. There's just silence now. Everybody's just going,
yeah, we're doing okay. Yeah.
That was like pulling teeth.
What did Mickey Moo say? Because he always says that was like pulling teeth. It was Mickey.
You didn't got a little tooth on there like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, small George. George Smalls.
Thank you, George. Wooden? What was wooden?
Oh, dear.
Oh, there's a few there, isn't there?
There's a few.
I got another Finland question for Stephen. So, do you have residency then in Finland, or did you have dual citizenship? Or
I have residency. I don't have citizenship because I don't speak the language. Shame on me. But because it's a really difficult language. Finnish is one of the most difficult languages you can learn, even though that's not an excuse. But I'm, we can get into the old, we can start to get into the B word here. The one that ends in it. Where things changed, and I had to basically, in a sense, renew my citizenship here and get the special card, which allows me to get in and out of the country now, because when the changes happened, it caused a lot of problems. And when I was on my very first drone light show, which was in Dubai, where I was on residency in Dubai for almost 2 months, and that's when the change happened. That's when it was at midnight at the turn of the year. But I was in Dubai from the early December until the end of January. So at the end of my shows, at the end of January, I was going back to Finland. And of course, I gave my passport over, and they took my passport and they said, "So where's your visa?" And I said, "What?" And they said, yeah, where's your visa? And I said, "I don't have a visa. I just came here beginning of December."
Oh,
yeah, well, we can't let you on the flight.
What did you do?
I negotiated for about 45 minutes. They were asking for printed bills. They wanted to see a printed bill.
Right.
Proof
like, residency, yeah.
This is yeah. I mean, this is Finland. We are very advanced when it comes to let's have bills and stuff. We don't use cash. Everything. I mean, everything's electronic.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And so I'm like, no, I don't have anything. And I had to talk my way on to the flight. But it happened a few times, and I have this card now. I have this special card which says that I'm a British citizen living in Finland. Shame on me. And yeah, it's quite difficult. Yeah, it's quite tough. So
So you just said you don't. So you're speaking English in Finland, but is it a common second language in Finland? Yeah. So it's easy to get. Yeah.
Everyone speaks English here. It's like a second language here.
That's part of the problem, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, why are you going to learn a language you don't need to?
Yeah.
You don't have to be getting on with your drone shows and whatever, you don't do that.
Yeah.
So here's the other thing, Stephen. They're probably always talking about you behind your back too, huh?
The thing is, I can understand Finnish, so it's okay. You see, you have to be careful what this is like. What? Well, I do know what this is. Plus, I have a wife and daughter. My daughter's 15 years old. I have to know what they're saying. I have to know.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Don't spend all your money. Don't tell them what we're on about.
I need to be 2 steps ahead of them, which is not easy. It isn't easy. So
when UK left Europe, Richard, we never left Europe. Okay, we never.
No, just left the
EU. The UK is still in Europe. Let's move.
We're still in Europe. Yeah.
Yes.
Still in Europe, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I just don't want to get it into I don't want to talk politics.
No, of course. Yeah.
I don't want to talk politics.
Drone politics. Now that's one thing.
Well, yeah, we can. Drone politics is one thing.
Well, I mean, I was surprised because I was supposed to pick a guy up last Tuesday. He was coming over for a visit, and so I've arranged all the car parking well for me to stand with my iPad and with his name on it. And I got a phone call about 5 to 5 in the morning from Italy. I thought, I'm sorry, I'm not coming. I went, can I ask why the change of mind? He said, I didn't realise I needed a passport.
Oh, God.
Sorry?
What?
He said, well, no, he said, because last time I just had an ID card.
And it was fine, yeah.
I think so. But until I looked this up, I didn't realise until October 2021, you could come from Italy and maybe other places to the UK on just an ID card.
Yeah, it's true, actually. Yeah.
So the government decided that it wasn't a good plan because it's too easy to fake. So now you need a passport.
Yep.
So I thought, well, that was a total waste of time. I got this little thing on my iPad, and I was there, and we standing there holding it like you see people do at the airport. I thought, what? £15 for car parking, which I cancelled.
Well, when I come over, Steve, can you do that for me? Just put.
I will, Terry. I will. I'm going to put Terry, drone seeker. You tempted me now, Terry.
I know. I thought so. Yeah.
If you're coming over to Finland and you want me to pick you up at the airport when I have the iPad with the name on it, you don't want to have me do that because you don't know what's going to be on that iPad. It will be something that will make you. It will be something that will make you want to turn back and go back to.
I'm going to come over now just to find out.
The mind reels.
It would be. It's the most embarrassing thing you could ever happen. Trust me.
So what's the best time of the year for me to come over to Finland then?
The best. I mean, actually, I would say summertime and wintertime is the best time to come over. Summertime, you have the sun. The sun doesn't go down much at all. When it gets into kind of July, mid-June, mid-July, the sun's pretty much up all the time. Then, of course, in wintertime, but we make the most of it, so you go walking out on the sea, you go walking on the lake, you go, ice fishing, or you go swimming in the lakes, you go to sauna. And the Finns were the ones that invented the sauna. That's something that you probably didn't know.
Swedish, actually.
It's not Swedish. It's very Finnish, actually. And there's more saunas in Finland than there are kebab shops, I think, actually.
So when you come out and sauna, you finished.
And by the way, welcome to NATO.
Oh well, that's the other thing. I mean, if anything, Finland has doubled the strength of NATO just overnight.
Oh, that is just a fact. That's just a fact. That is so true. Yeah.
We're so prepared here. We are so prepared. It's unbelievable. Yeah.
We look forward to it. So another place on my bucket list is Finland. But we have to make sure I come over at the right time when you're actually going to be there. Not
it's always good if I'm here because you never know, So you never know.
Yeah, check first.
You just reminded me.
I'll ring Dave for you in. Yeah, I'll be over tomorrow.
Mr. Gardner, you just reminded me of something. We need to get Stephen to the Florida drone meetup.
Yes. Yes, it's been. I was actually trying to go last year, but I couldn't because again I was working. So I'm trying again next year. So that'll be in April. I think it's April 5th. Is it?
April 6th, I think.
6th, I believe. Yeah. But it's the whole weekend, so it's like kind of the 5th, 6th, and 7th, really.
I thought it was the 4th to the 8th, or 5th to the 8th. Was it?
Well, I think that's when you and I are going to hit that hotel, Steve.
That's first. When we're flying, Steve.
No, right. So we get there on the 2nd of April, don't we? We get there.
Yeah, that's right. And then we're driving down or up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a plan, because I think it's time I came to the US and met everyone. It's time.
It'd be great because me and Terry will be there. We'll be there waiting for you.
We'll be there.
So,
iPads.
we also, I don't know if I'm speaking out of step here, but I've got some friends from North Texas that are coming as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
North Texas, that's Alberta for.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the Texas.
Is that a shampoo?
In Canada. See,
In
the
Canada.
joke is, Alberta produces a bunch of oil just like Texas does, so they call Alberta North Texas.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Mm.
Would this be Mr. Hope?
No, Mr. Hope is actually in Texas, the real Texas. And, he's never been to the Florida drone meetup.
Really?
Yeah. No, I'm talking about some of our friends from Calgary, Alberta.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It looks like it's going to be a crowd of people there, basically. We'll know some of them too, don't worry.
There's going to be a ton of people. I'm telling you, I think about that whole Florida drone meetup and watching how it's grown. At some point, I think Captain Ray is in the chat here.
He was.
I don't know if he will outgrow the venue at some point.
You'll have to move.
It was big last year, or sorry, this year. It was really big this year. I was watching the videos and just watching the separate videos. It was really big.
What about 140 people? Was it more than that, Marcus, this year?
I'll bet it was over 100 last year. I'm willing to bet that this year will be. Yeah, I bet he gets close to 150. I mean, everybody that I know is, well, not everybody, but a lot of people are. I mean, Stephen's not going, so I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I won't go. If Stephen's not going, maybe I won't go. I don't know.
It's the bottom row of this panel that aren't going at the minute.
I'm going to do
All the
my
top rows
absolute.
going.
I'm going to do my absolute best to be there next year. I'm going to do my absolute best to try to. It's really tough to say. I mean, I can't even tell my wife, let's go on holiday. I can't do that. I mean, because we are just so busy, and things can change really, really quickly. Things can change overnight where I just have to go somewhere, and so. And if I turn around and say to my team, sorry, I can't do this massively impressive show because I'm going to go to Florida to go and fly with a bunch of guys. What?
Bob said, "I'm between me and Mark is a long distance, so I'm going to be me and Terry."
Yeah, that's going to be.
Well, that we Terry.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Terry's got to fly to Spain to the UK, then from the UK to Lisbon, then from Lisbon to Miami.
Yeah, Terry's got that trophy on lock. Yeah.
I'm thinking the best way to get me there, right, is to order a drone light show.
There you go.
Boom.
What's the smallest amount of drones we can order?
Yeah, you've got to pay his flight though, remember?
Yeah. Can you do it with 2 drones?
Yeah. 2 for the price of 1 deal.
Yeah. No, but I'll certainly do my best. I'm going to do my absolute best to be there next year.
That'd be good.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Caroline says, Steve can't
He
tell
doesn't
us
want
that
it. He doesn't think Finnish.
doesn't speak Finnish.
Well, just go. When you said you didn't tell me you was going, so I couldn't speak a word of that. Oh dear, crazy. Oh well, I don't know where the time's gone. What's happened to the time? I don't know. We've got a smiley face over here, right? Well, what's the minimum? Oh, what is the minimum drones in a show?
Oh, minimum drone in a show. The smallest show I've done has been 200.
Okay.
Can you do it with 2?
Yes, Terry, we can. That's called a wing test.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the money.
It wouldn't be much of a show, really, with it 2 drones. Well, that way, that way, or that way.
It's not that impressive, but I'll give you the wind readings.
Oh, dear. Well, it's time to go home, I'm afraid, guys. And where's the time gone? It's flown past, as always. Steve, thanks so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have you on. We talk and look, before you know it, we've got past time. And, hey,
yeah.
Anyway, so right, so have a good week all, and don't work too hard. Don't fly too well. I'm not working tomorrow. I'm having a day off.
Don't fly too far. Don't fly too high.
Don't fly at it. And just watch Stephen's video and understand more of that.
Fly responsibly.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Pleasure being on. Pleasure seeing you all. Thank you.
No. Viagra is not a painkiller.